This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Perich.
Fill me in Perich.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Philadelphia. You know what? I was going that over in my head like 16 times today, and I kept on making that mistake. I don't know why. Burg of Perich show. And in my mind, you would say, you would hear it, realize it was weird, and say, fill me in, Phila, but, that was in my brain. So, that was not intended to happen, but for some reason, I knew it would, because either I'm psychic or stupid. Anyway, moving right along. Hey, Philip,
yes,
have you seen Stargirl?
Yes, I have. Both episodes.
No, not Disney Stargirl. I'm not talking about that hit
I know.
Show.
The DC Universe / CW show. Yes, I have.
Yeah. Oh. And you know what? Back over there on Capes and Lunatics, scroll down to see that. We were talking about how that would have been a perfect thing for
HBO
Max because it's a really good show.
Oh, yeah.
But I realized, the problem for Stargirl is it's a really good show, but you don't know that going in. Stargirl, I'm sure she has her fans. I'm not saying Stargirl doesn't have her fans. I am saying that Stargirl is like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a risk. And so I get that they wouldn't want to build HBO Max around Stargirl.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, Stargirl is really the start of the new CW television universe. Especially if we're going to be doing this as an Earth 1 kind of concept of Stargirl and rebuilding a Justice League around that.
Well, no, Stargirl's on. They mentioned it real briefly in Crisis. It's Earth 2, so it's going to be Justice Society and...
Well, whatever, Earth, whatever.
Yeah.
But is this the actual, so is this the Earth 2 that we went to in Flash, where they had the Justice Society?
No, I mean, the old Earth 2 got wiped out in Crisis. This is like a brand new Earth 2, like Stargirl's the first time we're actually seeing this Earth 2, yeah. But this is separate from the Flash universe. Yeah, right now, like everyone else in the Arrowverse doesn't know, the rest of the multiverse is still out there, so.
Okay, well that's fine. That's good.
Although I thought I heard somewhere that I guess there's talks for next season or whatever of maybe is it Stargirl maybe do a guest episode on the Flash or something like that.
Well, they can cross universes. Those things happen. She's got a cosmic rod,
Mm-hmm.
That cosmic rod. I did not realize that. Who did they said Ted Cord made the cosmic rod, didn't they?
No, Ted Knight.
Ted Knight made the cosmic rod.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Ted Cord. Ted Knight. So I don't know who Ted Knight is off the top of my head.
He was like the.
I never realized the cosmic rod was made by someone.
Yeah. I mean, it was was it was it a fragment of a star or something? But yeah, Ted Knight was like the Golden Age star man. If you ever see the one with the cape and the big red hat thing or whatever, yeah.
Oh, and then you had the Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy, who were his sidekicks, and then he gives it to the Star Spangled Kid, who becomes the new Starman with Stripesy. The ages in this don't make any sense.
Well, yeah, that's what me and Lilith were talking about. It's weird because it's like the Justice Society was just around 10 years ago, so yeah, it's...
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's well, I mean, you got your sliding time kind of thing, but it's also just that idea that, is Owen Wilson... That's Owen Wilson, right?
Yes.
Or is it the other Wilson?
Owen.
Yeah, it's Owen Wilson. Yeah. Is he 10 years older than guy from Talk Soup?
I don't know. They never really called it out. I mean, yeah.
They did say that he was 25 when
older, yeah.
Or maybe he said he was 20 when the other guy was 15. Because I know the other person, the original Star Spangled Kid, started when he was 15.
Yeah.
So I listened to these things. Oh my gosh, Philip!
What?
Talk about burying the lead, Philip.
Grundy.
Oh my gosh! I'm at once in love with the fact that Grundy is there. I am so mad that they've got Grundy locked up in the basement.
Oh,
what
yeah.
in the holy hand grenade of Antioch?
Oh, wait. Okay, I have a question for you. You watch this? What did you watch this on the CW app?
Yeah, CW app. So I've seen episodes 1 and 2. I don't think I've seen 3 yet.
Well, 3 hasn't come out yet. No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've seen 1 and 2.
So what, did you? I forget. Was there any in your version? Was Grundy in that first battle in the first episode?
Yeah, Grundy's in the first battle. He's the one who crushes the back of the car.
That's what I thought. Okay, but because I'm just asking because on DC Universe the episodes are like 52, 53 minutes long, so they kind of like edited a little bit for CW. They take like 10 minutes out of it every episode. Yeah.
I don't feel like I missed anything. I mean, it really was.
Yeah, it's nothing big.
Yeah, it was great. And I did look it up. Lou Ferrigno Jr. is in 3 episodes as the original Hourman.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was going to be your big pet peeve. You were like, they had Lou Ferrigno Jr. and they didn't make him Grundy.
I don't have an attachment to Lou Ferrigno Jr. No offense to Lou Ferrigno Jr. as an actor. I just haven't seen him in a lot of things yet.
I haven't seen him in anything. Has he been around?
This may be his first like big superhero moment.
Okay,
but he's going to be in 3 episodes. I don't know if he was in the 2nd episode, but I'm hoping we'll get more of him. I'd love to see more of Lou Ferrigno Jr. I'd like to see more. I did notice that as I was going through the IMDb, he has a son in this town.
Oh, yeah, because, the Injustice Society, some of them have kids, and it seems like they're running the town.
Yeah, well, obviously, and we know that Hourman came to that town.
Yeah.
So, and then died in that town. So, but as I was reading the last name, I was like, oh, look, that Hourman's last name is Tyler, and, like 3 persons on there, some teenager kid named Tyler. So, I'm saying it's Tyler, I don't know if it was Tyler, but I think it was something Tyler. So I think one of the kids there is supposed to be Hourman's son and will be the new Hourman.
Yeah, it might be that kid who was sitting at that boy who was sitting at the loser table. I think
the other loner.
Yeah, because I think they're becoming the new JSA because what's her face? Beth, I think, is becoming the new Dr. Midnight, and I think it's the other girl who's becoming the new Wildcat.
Okay.
So.
So the black girl with the glasses becomes the Dr. Midnight.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, that's cool. She's clearly the brains of the outfit, so I love her. She's so much fun. I love her. I imagine that kind of nerdy exuberance is what my wife was like in high school. I didn't know her then, but and I love that nerdy exuberance of her. She's so awesome, and I really hope they do great things with her. And so that little group being the new Justice Society sounds cool, and then builds us a new great universe of heroes to spin off. And the Injustice Society is kind of cool in its own right, and I guess that one gym owner is his name technically Sportsmaster?
Yeah. If it's I think it's Sportsmaster. Yeah,
which is just. Okay, Casey Jones.
I mean, he wasn't the Young Justice cartoon, but I think if he's from the comics, it's probably from the 40s. So, again, 40s.
I don't think that's an excuse, even in
I
the
know.
40s. They had, fully fleshed out superheroes and villains in the 40s. And most of them had, names like, Dr.,
Death.
Death. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm Dr. Apocalypse with a K. No one will ever use that, right?
Mark my words.
Yes, but I love this. I love how he's built this stripesy mech out of old car parts.
I know.
Which clearly none of these are old car parts. This does not have an internal combustion engine running it. This is clearly got some kind of arc reactor going on.
It's like the gear, it's like the rotors and gears. It's not the actual engine.
Yeah, I'm just...
Was it an electric car?
it's clearly a mech. It's a pretty awesome mech too. They do that nice little got it one piece at a time Johnny Cash drop in there, which is nice, and we get the backstory that he basically built this because he wanted to fight with the Justice Society too. And then Joel McHale, that's his name, Talk Soup Guy. You'll always be Talk Soup Guy, Joel McHale. Don't ever think you're anything above that. I'm not me and Joel McHale. We got a thing. Well, I have a thing. Joel McHale doesn't know I exist, but I don't know. They really made him very, very jerky in this in a way that, and I know it was done for comedy, where he's like, just again. You have to. Older than you. Don't be talking down to him just because you got to have the star rod. You have to. Cosmic rod.
Yeah, no. You have to find a new Starman, someone worthy, but not you. You know you're not worthy. Find someone worthy, not you.
But the thing is, they could have done that in a more ambiguous way, where no, it's not going to respond to you because that's not your destiny. You could have made it not be him. Just
I know. I think they did that
being a jerk about it.
Yeah, it's for comic relief. But yeah, they had that big blinking road sign. The minute Luke Wilson grabbed the staff, they should have just powered down. It's just like, oh no.
Yeah, that there will be another, or so just something interesting about it. But that's that. Honestly, I'm not intrigued by getting more Joel McHale at any time soon. Joel McHale. I could do a lot more with Lou Ferrigno Jr. Definitely want some Solomon Grundy, even if it's not played by Lou Ferrigno, which that'd have been perfect.
If anything, Joel McHale probably might just be a flashback, because I think there's episode 7 or 8. I think it's titled Justice Society of America. So I don't know if it's the new kids or a flashback to the old, but okay. So it's been getting good responses. All the DC people I talked to say it's good. You liked it, right?
I liked it. I'm not a DC person.
I know, and you're Mr. Marvel, so the response has been good.
I always liked Golden Age DC more than
but
later DC.
But like you said, HBO Max missed out on this. It's just like, what was it not mature enough for them? Maybe or.
But it's not like they're leading with anything mature.
I know.
It's like I said, their lead shows are literally Looney Tunes and Elmo, the Not Too Late Show with Elmo.
Yeah.
And there is one other new show on there, which is called Love Letters, which I'm guessing is a romantic. But I don't know if it's that's the thing. I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this a Sex in the City? Am I going to see boobs? What are you selling me? Is this a nice girl finding nice love, or is this a dirty girl finding dirty love? Give me something to work with. Let me know what I'm picking up on when I'm opening this movie. Well,
it's Anna Kendrick, and I don't think she does nude scenes, so I don't think it's going to be...
She doesn't have to do... You always have another girl that does the nude
scene. Yeah, you get the Sarah Jessica Parker, all the other ones do it. Yeah. Yeah, true.
That's what the other girls were for, Philip. And it's not like I'm like, I need the nude scene, but I want to know what I'm looking at when I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing anything that I know what to look for. And if I don't know what to look for, it's like, why am I going to click on this?
Yes.
And it's not like there's like a big media push. Here is why you should watch this show.
Yeah.
So literally I go there. The only shows I know are going to be Looney Tunes, Elmo, and maybe some DC cartoons.
Yeah, I know.
But in general, it's like there's not anything there that's going to drag me except for like the reruns of the shows I could already be watching on HBO Go. So I can see all the Larry Davids on HBO Go. I can see all of the
Sopranos
on HBO Go, And it's like I was hoping they would have done Dream On, which is like one of those obscure things. They do have First and 10. And they do have Arliss. Actually, I don't know if they have First and 10. They have Arliss, though. Arliss was a good classic HBO show. Though, I haven't gotten out to watch the Arliss yet. So, for its value, I don't know what it is. But that's HBO Go. And it was HBO Max.
And it was so funny, on Wednesday when HBO Max dropped, I saw more commercials than I've ever seen before for Disney Plus, Amazon Video...
Well, yeah, I mean, they want to remind
Oh,
you.
yeah.
They want to remind you what side your bread is buttered on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they want to remind you, hey, you know, I know there's a new kid on the block, but hey, remember the one who brung you, you know? And for what it's worth, I don't think they had to worry so much, you know? Because...
Where do you watch Rick and Morty? Do you watch it like on a channel, or is it on one of your...
I just watch it on regular TV. Yeah, I know they have the Rick and Mortys. I can watch...
Yeah.
I can watch... You know, the thing about Rick and Morty is I don't think Rick and Morty really ages well.
Oh...
I think that, yeah, and like I went back and I watched the first episode, and then I watched other episodes, and you know how they say, oh, we don't really plan these things out? Well, you know, I think there is some truth to it. I will fight that they don't plan anything out, or they don't have callbacks that they don't write in a callback to something that happened before.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that when they're going to go back to something, it's going to be because it does have meaning, but I don't think that, I don't think that they plan what is going to happen in the future, but when the future happens, they go back and look at what has happened before and maintain their continuity. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I can watch the Rick and Morty's there.
Well, like we were saying, a lot of people are getting it for free now. Do you think maybe is that a plot? They'll like give it to you for free, and then once they actually have like more content, they'll start charging people.
Yeah, but you got to eventually give them the content.
Yeah. But
it's like if they say, "Oh, well, it was free, but now to get the content we've been promising for a year, now it's $15.99 for everybody."
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I need to see the next episode of Doom Patrol that badly. You know?
Plus, I don't know if DC Universe still going to have it. So if they're sharing it, I mean, you can get it on DC Universe if you have that.
Yeah, and again, if I wanted it that badly, I'd have DC Universe.
Exactly.
Right, you know, it's like, here's the thing. I probably could have lived my whole life without watching the second season of Doom Patrol. Or I could have waited 2 or 3 years when it cycled onto some other service.
Yeah. I mean...
Because it'll eventually cycle onto some other service.
I mean, we're getting it for free right now, but right at this moment, there's nothing on HBO Max where I'd be like, oh man, I would pay for this, you know, to make sure I got this show or this whatever movie.
Exactly. It's like, I like the Looney Tunes, but first off, they didn't get me excited about Looney Tunes, and I'm going to say, okay, here's what I'm going to say about the Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Okay, in their first Bugs Bunny episode, which is a Gossamer episode, which has the mad scientist, so it has like some old school throwbacks. This bugged me. They do this thing where they give Gossamer these ganky nails, these big, long, weird black and yellow nails. Now, for those who know old school Gossamer knows that the joke is that Bugs gives him a manicure. And then they don't call that back. So they put these big nails on Gossamer, and then they don't call back to the manicure scene. It's like, like I said, I did not like the Bugs stuff they did. All the Bugs stuff I did, first off, I get the feeling like Bugs is kind of, I don't know, I think they're too protective of Bugs as a character. Bugs Bunny, which is honestly counter to what Warner's did with like the previous Bugs Bunnies. Like, I think the like in Wabbit, they definitely let Bugs Bunny cut loose. And in the one that was kind of like Seinfeld with the Warner's characters, he was definitely more out there. He was more, you know, he was funnier.
Mm-hmm.
But when you try to you can't make Bugs Bunny into Mickey Mouse.
Yes. And
that's the Mickey Mouse. There's only so many things. Even in Mickey Mouse's heyday, he was still really kind of he had his weirdness and his silliness, but he was never at a Wabbit level.
Mm-hmm.
And he certainly was not, you know, Bugs Bunny was kind of the FU to Disney for a Rodentia character, you know? And so, but that's what they've done. But aside from the Bugs Bunny content, the Daffy stuff is golden. This is some of the best Daffy you're ever going to see. So, and their Porky is spot on. I mean, if you like the old Gabby Porky cartoons, man, I would love if they'd bring back Gabby in this. Gabby the Goat, if those of you who remember, who was the original wacky sidekick to Straight Man Porky. before Daffy Duck took over that job. But yeah, I would love if they'd bring back. I mean, heck, I would love a Daffy Gabby cartoon. That would be fun. But yeah, I've only seen like the first. Maybe the Gabby's in there by 6. We should have asked Tyler since him and his kids watched all 6. But yeah, I mean, there's stuff that's there that's interesting, but nothing is overwhelming. But that's that.
I mean, they don't have like a Mandalorian day one where you're like, oh man, I got to buy it. I got to see that show.
Well, not only, I mean, I get, like I said, the closest that they're going to have, and I can get that. Oh, like everyone said, it was they're giving it away for free. They don't want to give everything away. But like the next big thing they have is Doom Patrol season 2 next month, or yeah.
And again, are they going to be sharing that? And again, are they going to be sharing that with Disney DC Universe? Because it's like, Mandalorian, you get that Disney Plus or nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is, I mean, that's a problem they're having, And to me, it's like there was, and this comes to this idea that people have said, why isn't all of those, why isn't the dark, the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War Fifth-tonology right there to watch and stream? It's like, well, because the rights are there, the rights are there, the rights are there. And it's like they're not willing to bring all the rights home to actually have this thing be an interesting story to tell.
Yeah, they should have it set up with all 15 of those movies. Like when you watch like a season of a TV show, and if you don't hit anything, it just starts playing the next episode. They should be able to have it. Click on the first one, which I think is Justice League War.
Oh, this is the order you watch them in.
Yeah, or if you don't hit anything, it'll just start playing them in order.
Yeah. And granted, I know that Disney doesn't have everything that they should have yet. Like some of their Avengers are out there and all these. But the holes that you find there are, I think, way smaller than the holes I find on HBO Max.
Yeah, I think you have to do much deeper dives on Disney Plus to find holes.
Well, no, there's a couple like Marvel films that aren't there.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think they, for example, I think they have Endgame, but not what was the one just before Endgame?
Infinity,
they have that one too.
Infinity War.
No, I think they don't have. Do they not have Age of Ultron? What do they not have? There was something I noticed that they did not have. That was like one of the Avengers.
Well, I was going to say they don't have the Tom Holland Spider-Mans, do they? Because the whole Sony thing.
No, Tom. Yeah, I don't think they have Tom Holland Spider-Mans, but
that's a Sony. That's the thing with Sony.
Honestly, those lift right out. They were written to lift right out.
Oh,
They involve the characters, but they're not as important to the characters. If you just watched Marvel, the central Marvel characters, you would not notice that you didn't get, Homecoming and Far From Home.
Oh, no, Age of Ultron's on there. Age
of Ultron is on there. So all the Avengers are on there then. Okay. So then I'm mistaken. But I think maybe it's one of the Thors that is missing, or I don't know. Maybe you don't have all the Iron Men.
I'm looking.
Because Winter Soldier's there, right? Winter Soldier and Civil War. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm missing, or maybe they weren't there at the start, but they eventually got them in there. Because, again, maybe Marvel was pushing harder to get...
unless I'm missing it, might be Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe?
Oh, okay. Well, again, let's try it out. So, not to say I don't love them, but they lift right out.
I mean, if nothing else, that end credit scene, you don't see Scott Lang go into the microverse.
Yeah, which, of course, solves that big hole of the quantum energies he went there to collect.
That's true.
Unless he left the quantum energies back in the quantum realm. Which, when they do Ant-Man and the Wasp, would that be Ant-Man and the Wasp 2 or Ant-Man and the Wasp 3? Or...
Oh,
maybe they'll call the next one Giant Man and the Wasp. That'll be it. They'll call it Giant Man and the Wasp. And they're going to make a point about, wait, we're so Scott, the quantum energies, where are they? It's like, I think I don't think I brought them back. Because as I said, wouldn't that have been like a thing to mention to the Hulk when you're trying? Oh, time to. Oh, by the way, I have a big jar of quantum energy. Is there anything you can do with that?
Yeah.
We have why did you not tell me you have a Holocaust cloak? I said, tell me everything we had.
And I saw people even recently just saying, if we could time travel in Avengers Endgame, why don't we just go back and stop Thanos earlier?
Well, they actually explain why.
Or at least go for the head in Wakanda, Thor. Come on.
Well, actually, the point is, which of course is the brilliance of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which also, thank you for that nice segue.
You're welcome.
Because I know you're always trying to keep me on track. They make me shoot this show later, so, Phil has to deal with me 2 apple juices in. Yeah, so in this season's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., now, as we've said, like last Agents, we said, oh, hey, time travel's a thing. And then Avengers said, hey, what if time travel was a thing? It's like, yeah, I know, we just saw that last season. Love you, MCU, but you're there too. But Agents deals with this, basically solves the endgame time travel problem by explaining what is, for what it's worth, the Russo brothers' understanding of time travel. Which is that just going back in time does not cause an alternate universe, but that
changing things
causes an alternate universe. That, there's a time stream and we're twigs in it and we move along with the time. Now, the real question for Steve is, did he make choices to change the universe? And, maybe there's an entire interesting side story where he did make all those choices, but he knew they just created alternate universes. So he goes and finds Bucky. He goes and basically created like a dozen other infinite universes where he does, stop the rise of Hydra and do all these things. Meanwhile, he keeps on going back to his original start point because he does his save point and goes back to Peggy. But yeah, so the idea in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season is that they've gone back in time and they have to, because apparently, and this goes into the complexities of time travel, because our chronoton hunters have gone back in time to destroy Earth because Earth caused problems for them, yada, yada, yada. And they realize the only threat to Earth, to them in the future, is S.H.I.E.L.D., so they have to destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. But they also have to maintain this time stream so that they come back to the universe where S.H.I.E.L.D. is there, where S.H.I.E.L.D. can be defeated. Mm-hmm. So, as we see at the start of this, the entire trick is they have to prevent Hydra's growth. And we actually see in 1931 some super soldier serum that's going to Hydra for some reason. So maybe they're gonna maybe we're actually gonna get Ubermensch and Warrior Woman. Uberman and Warrior Woman.
I wonder if they're gonna keep going chronologically forward in time. So like pretty soon we're gonna get to World War II, and then we're gonna keep jumping like to the 50s and stuff.
Well, it's those things you say in interviews. They said, so is this going to bump into the MCU? Oh yeah, it bumps into the MCU. Yeah, it really bumps in, which is like, what does that mean? And I get the feeling what we're going to get is we're going to get to that Loki moment. That Loki splitting of the universes when he steals the Tesseract. Because that becomes a major thing that is going to cause a split universe.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the idea, is that there are certain things that are going to cause these split universes because things have changed. So in that universe, Loki has the Tesseract. The Tesseract has moved outside of the realm of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s control, which, I'm trying to remember, which means it doesn't go back to Asgard, which means it's not there for Thanos to even steal. Mm. And it also, because Loki doesn't return to Asgard, in the Dark World in that universe, other things happen. Now, maybe Asgard doesn't fall, but you also don't get any betrayals by Loki. You don't get anything that Loki does in that storyline, except maybe Loki trying to get the ether from Jane Foster. So, exactly how that plays out is going to be different. And all these differences are going to cause a divergent timeline for that universe. Most likely not with Loki sitting on the throne of Asgard, but possibly Loki doing something completely different.
And all right, when you saw those, the Chronicons taking the faces off those policemen in the beginning, so they had no faces. Was that a subtle? Was that a subtle? Hey, TVA's coming.
I'm sorry, what?
Time variance authority, is that it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's an interesting. That I hadn't even thought of that.
Is that a subtle little? Hey, guess what's coming?
Yes, I mean it could be. I mean, that makes sense because when you really think about it, it's one of these things where like that really was unnecessary. I have no idea why they couldn't steal these guys' faces without digitally removing their faces.
I know. Can't you make like a 3D hologram or something? Mm-hmm. You have time travel tech, but you can't copy a face without taking it off.
That Mystique has more power than you on that situation. So
I guess we just want to. I guess we just want to show how evil they are.
Evil. You gotta really sell the bill.
But I did.
Yeah, I am.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I swear Flowers was sitting next to Roosevelt in that scene, but I could be wrong. And so I'm like, I'm certain she shows up in this storyline somewhere, or someone related to her must.
Maybe her mother.
So I'm really fast. Maybe her mother, yeah. So where we go from there is going to be, and would be interesting if her mother was an Inhuman, like a full-on Inhuman at that point, and had powers before her child gets born, and then she dies, and basically horror ensues. It's interesting to me, the idea of trying to maintain the timeline when you're going back to do something, especially when your point to do something is to intentionally disrupt the timeline. And that is the idea, is the Chronotons feel that they know exactly where to pull the threads, where they can destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. without destroying the timeline. Which, arguably is possible. It's arguable that, so long as something else is there to cushion the blow. But as you say, the problem with the butterfly effect problem is that you don't know exactly what's going to lead to that major differentiation.
Well, again, too, the biggest thing I can think of, if there's no S.H.I.E.L.D., is Fury there to form the Avengers?
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's one of these things. It's like, when you talk about something like the event. So, for example, if someone, if they really wanted to destroy the Avengers, literally all they have to do is go back to that church and take the Tesseract. And they said, yes, we would just like to take the Tesseract, and go take the Tesseract. And then they leave. So now we have this Tesseract. And now that is, but of course that's because an Infinity Stone has left that universe. That is a thing that changes the universe. Although arguably, if they simply moved the Tesseract to someplace else and held the Tesseract, that would prevent the creation of the Avengers without disrupting the timeline, because the Tesseract as an Infinity Stone was still in that universe. Mm-hmm. There's ways you could do it, but then again, you have that butterfly effect where the resulting outcomes are that, essentially you don't get a Deus Ex Machina to destroy the Red Skull. So maybe the Red Skull actually does destroy Manhattan, or Cap has to physically kill the Red Skull, or something else happens. Mm-hmm. Or, in that situation, the Red Skull never has the power source to build his super weapons. And it becomes a much more subtle World War II, which actually suggests that maybe that actually solves most of the... So again, I actually think that actually solves most of their problems. If they just take the Tesseract and hold it in-universe and defend it for, about 80 years... There's literally nothing that's gonna build an Avengers after that, or even a deep dive S.H.I.E.L.D.
Can you imagine that scene like we got in Endgame? Where the Avengers went back to the the end of the first Avengers movie, and they're kind of like standing behind the scenes. Can you imagine if Coulson and the others are standing behind them? There's 20 different layers of time travel there.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with time travel. The more you go back, the more complex it gets. So,
but
anyway,
but I was gonna say, I did love that Coulson, even though he's an LMD, is still like a fanboy this time for FDR.
Well, because it's still Coulson. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Superior Spider-Man paradox.
Mm-hmm.
It's his mind in there, you know? And like he says, I remember dying. You know, I remember... Although what's interesting is that he remembers that he died. He doesn't remember dying. Because, and this is an interesting little fun side note about it, everything after they left the framework are all essentially just data points.
Yeah.
Without any emotion. So he knows he wrote everyone letters. He only knows the contents of the letters that he gave to Simmons and maybe Fitz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they're, you know, a couple, so they might have shared things. He doesn't know the contents of the letter he gave to Skye.
Yep.
As an example. So you create that a very interesting thing where he has he knows he died, but doesn't have knowledge of his death. Although he knows he would know that he had died before. So that's an interesting side aspect of it. It's like, you know, I remember dying, and then I was told I died again, and now I'm back again. But within that concept is the idea that he really actually adjusts to it relatively quickly. He realizes, well, you know what? This is the reality. This is who I am. So I might as well be this person.
But did he though? Because I mean, is that kind of a problem there where he's just like, oh, I'll take a bullet. You know, I'm not real. I'll take a bullet.
But is it not real, or is it I know I can take it?
Yeah, but does it? Yeah, but can an LMD take it? I mean,
yeah, they can take lots of bullets. That's kind of the point, Philip.
Yeah.
You know, they have hearts and blood and all that stuff, but they're kind of for show. In fact, they're literally for show.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, literally, you know, he can get shot, he can get his arms ripped off, he can feel pain, but at a certain point, you know, he can probably turn off that pain too. You know, it's like he is a mechanical Coulson, but he's also sentient because he is a real boy too. And like the Chronotons, you know, like Enoch, you know, she's your friend Enoch. And I love that, of course, May escapes.
Oh yeah,
which is of course just perfect because, you know, May wakes up in a hospital bed. She's not staying in that hospital bed, especially if it's like a hyperbaric chamber hospital bed. Even though intellect would say, "Gee, maybe I'm in this hyperbolic hospital bed to keep me alive," but
and how do you think she's going to feel when she finds out they brought LMD Coulson back?
It's going to be awkward,
mm-hmm.
But they'll deal with it.
Especially she was the one who's with him when he died. I mean, there'll be a flashback of him saying, "Don't let them bring me back. Don't let them bring me back."
And you know what? I get the feeling we're going to get a Max Fury concept in this.
Oh, maybe.
You know, if those of you who remember Max Fury, which is actually kind of one of those sad stories. It's the Robot Morty story where every so often the Nick Fury LMDs, which were so good, would eventually become sentient and just start taking out bad guys that they weren't supposed to take out at that time.
Yeah.
And Max Fury is one of them that, you know, got to escape and got to be, you know, the maximum Fury. So I will bet you. So mark my words. By the end of this season, they're going to have that confrontation with May and Coulson, and Coulson's going to say, "You know what? Just call me Max. I'm not your Coulson. I'm Max.
Oh, man.
I'm someone else. You know, but that doesn't mean I'm not real. You know, I am as real as anything that can be created. You know." The vision, and that's where you'll get like those references to things. It'll say, you know, the Avengers have the vision, and it's easy to dismiss him as a robot and an automaton, but I don't think he is. I don't think I am either. And if it's hard for you to call me Coulson, just call me Max. He's going to be Max from now on, and that's going to be who he is. And I would love that, and that would be awesome, and they will not do it because I will always be wrong, because no one ever steals my brilliant ideas the way I want them to. But to their defense, they always have more brilliant ideas in the MCU than I come up with. So, unlike other people who just come up with bad ideas instead of my brilliant ideas. But that's my opinion on that subject. Did you have any other comic books you wanted to talk, Phil?
Well, I don't think we didn't actually talk Avengers 33. Did you want to talk about that?
I mean, well, okay, so here's what I tell you. There are 2 other books I read this week.
Okay.
Avengers 33 and Moon Knight #1.
Oh.
This is from, I want to say 1998.
I believe so, yeah. I have that, yeah.
Yeah, it is this is where we really, I mean, honestly, let me just check the date on this.
I believe it is 98.
98, yeah, January 1st, #1, Volume 3, January 1998. They really tripled down on the schizophrenia in this one. I did not know that schizophrenia was that prominent in the Moon Knight saga that far back in 1998.
Well, I think they were trying to clean up continuity too, because like he had kind of died at the end of the last series, and like they had a whole kind of weird thing with like a group of, they were almost like mutants or something, but they weren't, and they kind of like retconned the whole thing away as like, it was a hallucination or something. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is what what's going on right now. Heroes Return.
Yes.
There's Thor. There's all the different heroes that are coming back because they're not in a Marvel anymore. Thor. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of fun as a book because it does take place in kind of like the mindscape, but it's a mindscape that has influence on the real world. Yeah. And within that concept, there's a character named Orpheus who apparently projects dreams on people but cannot sleep.
Yes.
Which is a new character for me. We get our classic Khonshu, not that bird head Khonshu. You don't have a bird head. Khonshu's not a bird. He's not like a freaking plague doctor. Like at most, if you want to say he's got like a bird face there, it's going to be like a small beaked bird. It's going to be a raptor bird, not a freaking seed eating bird. And he does eventually. Oh, there's Bushman. They've got the white face on the Bushman. But he eventually breaks out of the Khonshu statue. And also, there you go. Khonshu, he has bunny ears. There's no bunny ears on the new Khonshu.
I guess you could say he's like a higher being, so he can appear however he's feeling.
No, I'm sorry. That's not Khonshu. That's Set. That's Seti. That's the dark one. So
I was gonna say, there's higher beings. They can appear however they want. However fancy they're feeling that day.
Yeah, but Moon Knight comes back, and he's going to be Stephen Grant now, I think, and he's not going to use Spectre except when he needs to, and going to get Loxley, which I guess is a Robin Hood reference. I never realized the cab driver's last name was Loxley. Loxley.
Lockley?
It's Loxley. That's Loxley.
Oh, they spell it like that?
Yeah, they spell it with an X in this.
Oh, okay. Every other thing I've seen, it's been like, L-O-C, I think L-O-C-K-L-E-Y or something, yeah.
Yeah, I have to... Huh. I mean, I'll triple check it, but when I read it, I was like, oh, L, they're spelling it with an X. Huh. And I really never knew the cab driver's last name,
Yeah.
I actually have never seen the cab driver except, in the, classic... the classic Marvel handbook to the Marvel Universe version.
Well, yeah. You know what the disguise is for when he's the cab driver, right? He's wearing the hat. He's got a mustache.
Oh, well, there you go. Mustache. You can't recognize anyone with a mustache.
That's right. Just like classes,
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can see where he actually says the word Loxley. Mark Spector is dead. Oh no, they do spell Lockleys. Lockleys. Okay. So, obviously, I just misread it.
You saw what you wanted to see.
I saw what I wanted to see. It's sad. You read these books sober, you have no idea what's going on. But Avengers 33.
Yes.
Oh, Avengers 33. You are delightful. Yeah, I already gave Ray that drop, but you can have it too, Phil.
Oh, nice.
I call this book delightful like 6 times in my review on... Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Oh, nice.
And it is delightful. It is a delightful little book. It is silly. It is the silliest Moon Knight story I've ever read, because it's all Golden Age twaddle, but with grit. So we open up with, of course, Moon Knight has decided that, he is going to dwarf a bunch of Avengers, and starts with, Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, I love that, because they do like the gag that they've done in Iron Fist books, like current, like modern Iron Fist books, are like, well, they'll tell you what movie's using, the punch of 12 monkeys or whatever. But but Moon Knight, it's just fist to conch you.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he does do a couple others, but there's which is, again, it's like two moves. It's like fist to conch you, and what is it, like the kick of Sphinx or something? But that's it. Yeah, it is very much just keep on pushing the B button.
Yes.
But that's the delight of this Moon Knight, of the schizophrenic who influences the universe. You know what? This is sort of, I think, where they're building Moon Knight too. And after reading this Moon Knight, I kind of think it's been in the works for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Is this idea of, what if we had a fourth wall breaking character who never broke the fourth wall? What if Ambush Bug was Ambush Bug, but never realized he was a fictional character? And, I originally thought, so to give you a concept here, I originally thought this is going to be a tie-in to that larger Howard universe that we had previously saw with Moon Knight, that they were going to weave him into there. And at first I thought, oh, well, this kind of isn't, this is kind of just comic booky. But then now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering, well, Conan's kind of comic booky. And Solomon Kane's really comic booky when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is very much 100% this idea of, what if someone started writing about stuff without doing research, but just wrote what people thought things would be like, and that becomes what we accept as what it's like? And of course, as a tail to that, we get an attack of mummies. Now, this is not mummies. This is what we think of as mummies because of a lot of Pulp Fiction and a lot of pulp movies, a lot of cheap movies about mummies and things like that. But the idea of the mummy is, in its own way, just very much a made-up kind of concept of writers who had no idea what they were talking about, but they knew, oh, well, yeah, there's mummies, and they might walk the earth, so what would that mean? And I love how he changes his outfit, so now he's back in the Moon Knight suit.
Oh, yeah.
Because at first he's in his karate garb, when he's there, and then he changes his outfit, and of course, and again, he is moving like someone who can move across panels. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like when She-Hulk would step across the white space to get to the next scene, he moves like that. And it makes me think that, you know what? He's a fourth wall breaker.
Ooh.
He just doesn't break the fourth wall. He knows what a fourth wall breaker knows. He knows that he's fictional, just like the other creations of Howard. And he has decided he can use that power to his advantage. Or someone else has decided to use the power that he doesn't realize he has to his advantage. Because the question becomes, is this bird-beaked fellow really Khonshu?
Ooh.
Or is he just using the most powerful Avenger to his whim?
I had a theory, probably maybe 2 years ago. I think I even wrote a blog on it. What if Mark Spector's this whole time has actually been Khonshu, and he's just been deluding himself?
Oh, so what if it was sort of a Thor becomes Donald Blake kind of concept?
Yeah.
Or a Beyonder wants to be a real boy?
I think it's somehow, some way. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but Khonshu assumed mortal form and kind of forgot. Either through his own machinations or someone else's. Yeah.
For what it's worth, the idea of anti-apotheosis is not an unheard of concept. In fact, arguably the entire concept of Christianity is based on the idea of anti-apotheosis.
I mean,
not man becoming God, but God becoming man, and how God experiencing humanity changes who God is and changes who humanity is. So I love a good anti-apotheosis story.
I mean, he's rocking a lot of power these days, and I mean, just all through the years, him having various conversations with Khonshu. Is that just him, his subconscious maybe having a conversation with him, being like...
Well, what's interesting, and maybe I'm wrong on this, has Khonshu ever interacted with the other Egyptian deities who are a known pantheon in the Marvel Universe? Because I don't recall it. The only time I've ever seen, because of course, we've all seen Set and the other Egyptian gods, but they've mostly been in Thor comics fighting Thor. I don't remember Khonshu or Moon Knight coming into that.
Yeah, I don't think Khonshu really. Yeah, usually when Khonshu wants something done, he usually sends Moon Knight.
And for what it's worth, recently I think they've even called out that Khonshu isn't an Egyptian deity. No one knows who this Khonshu is.
Oh, I mean, think about the origin of Moon Knight. Supposedly he died in that temple in front of the statue, and Khonshu brought him back to life. What if Mark Spector died and Khonshu just took his form?
I mean, it's an entire possibility.
I mean, that's so Don Blake Thor origin.
What I'm going to tell you right now, my friend, is I have put Avengers on my pull list.
Ooh.
Just based on the Moon Knight arc that we're about to step into. So they are pulled. I will be getting them every 30 days.
Nice.
Because that's the first thing that Marvel brought back. And I for one, welcome our new Khonshu overlords. And I can't wait to see where it goes next.
I know Ray's excited over there.
Oh, I can imagine. Every... Well, I've heard some Moon Knight fans are not a fan of Moon Knight being the villain.
Yeah.
But, you know what? First off, Moon Knight's not the villain. Come on! This is like the first time you've ever read a comic. He's fighting the Avengers. He must become evil! It's like, no. Come on. First off, like, all the Avengers, like, why don't you talk to me? I don't have time to talk. It's like, okay, so this is, superhero misunderstanding. Because, obviously, he should just say, oh, no, you see, there's this thing, here's the problem, but of course, what the problem is that he feels the only solution is his solution.
Yes.
Which is, we have to bring all the powers into one being to fight, and... but if they actually suggested that, everyone would want to debate it, and then become while they're debating, then the monster would eventually come. So that's the theory that he's operating under. I still don't necessarily agree with the idea, especially since, well, why can't I just use the Iron Fist and punch him? Why do you need the Iron Fist to punch him? And not for nothing, it's not like there aren't like 6 Iron Fists. It's not like you can't just punch the Xiaolao dragon and, get yourself a freaking Iron Fist. I got like 8 of them, man. Come on. These things ain't in short supply. Then he tries to take, and I kind of feel like, the whole Black Panther has to come with him. Though we don't see him in the next panel, it's kind of like when in some random What If I once read, where basically, Thanos wins, and in this one, it's like the Hulk, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four stays together, and Tony Stark becomes part of them.
Oh.
And there's this whole scene in that where basically Wolverine sort of switches sides. He says, no, I'll hang out with you, Thanos. Yeah, no, I can be on the winning side. That's cool. And he's just sitting there for the entire time, just talking to Thanos. It's like, oh yeah, cool, man. Cool boss. Yeah. And, and then waits for Thanos to drop his guard for lets his guard down for even a second, and just cuts off Thanos' arm. And which is just a brilliant, beautiful move. And it's like, I'm a little disturbed that you were actually able to lie better than Mephisto. But it's just beautiful and wonderful. And I get the feeling that that's what they're setting up Black Panther to be. To be the guy let me see what's going on. Let me watch this. And let me whisper in people's ears, for as long as I can on this storyline. because you can't take my power. My power is in my blood. It's not something you can just pull out of me like Iron Fist. So
yeah, and in this Avengers series, it seemed like they've been setting up Black Panther as like the Batman, where like he has a plan for everything, no matter how far fetched the scenario is.
Oh, he's been that for years.
Oh yeah, but really in this series, I think So.
I will argue he was that before Batman was that.
Ooh,
really? I mean, Batman in the 60s, was he that planned?
No, but was
Batman Black Panther in the 60s has like, how do I defeat every single member of the Fantastic Four, and then straight up defeats them all, and they lets them out because like, look, I just did that to show I'm someone to be messed with. I'm not someone to be messed with, and I'm letting you all out because it's I'm cool, and I want you guys to help me out. So, Black Panther has always been that eighth dimensional chess guy, So, and that's the beauty of Black Panther, and for what it's worth, it was like, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, they weren't going to create their first African superhero to be anything other than literally the best person in the universe. Like, this man will have no flaws. Because we cannot allow any stereotype or flaw to be associated with this character. He must be the best.
Oh yeah.
He must be better than all the rest. And the country he comes from must be just as advanced, just as perfect, just as wonderful. So, and that's what they did, and that's why we have Black Panther in Wakanda today. Wakanda forever. Okay.
It's kind of derivative.
Yeah, well,
Deadpool.
Every idea is old, I pitched an idea on Facebook the other day about, which actually I had even stolen the idea itself, was the idea that, what if there was a group of scientific, like in the future, there's these time travelers whose whole job is to go back in time and prevent people from being evil.
Oh.
And of course, lots of people have done, I guess, similar ideas. Although my actual idea was just that, and this is the spoiler, is that when you prevent Hitler from being evil, you create an alternate timeline.
Oh, yeah.
So you never get to experience the timeline in which Hitler never rises to power and 6 million Jews don't die, but we hope it's a better world.
Yeah.
We hope those people get to live that life. That timeline gets to go on and be an alternate timeline. Now we got to go back to our timeline and find out because eventually if any monsters show up in that timeline, there'll be a group of us to go back there and fix those universes too.
Yeah.
So that's the big spoiler of the brilliant idea I just had that, now no one will ever want to read it. So, I've spoiled myself. But anyway. But yeah, apparently other people have had that idea before and probably did it better than I will ever do it. But that's okay. I will still write it because I'm actually inspired by the idea. Just like I say I'll write everything I say I'll write, then I never do. Anyway, Philip, now I'm getting depressed. Bring me out of it. Is there anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I think we're good.
We're good. Okay. So you know what, Philip? When I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling blue, you know what I like to do?
What, Charles?
I like to listen to things on tweaked audio headsets.
Yes.
Those fantastic little headsets that has sound so crisp and clear, even your mother won't know you're there. And you know what's great to listen to on those headsets?
Capes and Lunatics?
Why, all of the Capes and Lunatics and South Cape Media podcasts, including Into the Night, which is a Moon Knight podcast, where you may be able to hear Phil, Lilith, and myself in the near future talking about Avengers 33 and our ideas about that. And additionally, when you're done listening to things, if you want to challenge your mind, you can always subscribe to Hunt a Killer, which is one of our other sponsors, who I believe sends you things that help you hunt a killer. Some sort of puzzle thing. I don't know. I don't know what any of these things are, but I'm going to go along with it.
I think it's a game. It sounds intriguing.
It actually, other people are also sponsored by Hunt a Killer. So other people who do this much better than I do basically tell you that Hunt a Killer is they send you clues, and you've got to piece together the clues, and it's a murder mystery you can do in your home, which, hey, since you're in your home anyway right now.
Exactly.
Because you probably are. Why don't you go hunt a killer and find out who they killed, why they killed that person, and then, catch them so they don't kill no more people. Okay, kind of do that one thing in your quarantine. Go hunt someone fictional and prevent them from killing other fictional people, because even though they're fictional to you, they're real to themselves.
You had one job: hunt a killer.
Just like Moon Knight, he's real to himself. You may think he's fictional, but he does not acknowledge the fourth wall. He simply lives in it.
Ooh.
You merely adopted the fourth wall. He was born within it. And you know what else you can do? A lot of people like podcasts. They listen to their podcasts on their Tweak Audio headsets. But, a lot of people don't know what it's like to actually be a podcaster. And they'd like to know what it's like to be a podcaster, because right now they're thinking, I should start a podcast, but what's it really like to be a podcaster? Why should I be a podcaster? Is there any reason to podcast things? Well, there actually is, and you'll find out that if you go down to the link in our subscription, it'll take you to Amazon, and once you're at Amazon, look up, here's the secret code, Podlife the book. Look up Podlife the book. It's available on Kindle or in a hard paperback. If you're one of those people who likes to read and feel the paper, like, I'll be honest, I do. Phil does. When we go to the comic book shop, we like that paper feel. Get Podlife the book. Find out about why we do these things, why it's fun to podcast, why it gives you a social network that you never thought you'd have, how just having that voice heard, even by one or two people, just gives you a feeling of life that you probably never thought you could have. So get Podlife the book, and coming soon, Podlife the book 2.
That's right.
Electric Boogaloo. And I think that's all of our sponsors, and I've got nothing else to say, Philip. So if someone wants to say something to you, ask you about why you podcast, how can they find you?
I can always get a hold of me. I'm on Twitter at NightwingPDP. You can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. But if you want to get a hold of the Capes and Lunatics, it's capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Handy dandy voicemail. You can see it right there on the screen. 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
And you know what? If you call that number and you leave a voicemail, you will be on the show.
Yeah, that's right. You can hear your voice.
Because we don't get that many voicemails right now. If we get like 100 voicemails, we might say, well, look, you have to give a good voicemail. But right now, quite frankly, you could call in, and so long as you don't do a swear, we'll say, hey, someone called in. Here's what they said. And we will put you on the air, and then you can have that experience of being a podcaster for a few minutes, and then you'll know if, you know what, maybe this Podlife the book thing and this pod life in general is for me. And if you'd like to write to me and talk about the life of podding, you can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on Twitter, because, you know what, I'm going to live tweet things. My thing, though, I really want to live tweet is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, if I can stay up late enough, I'm going to have to get some coffee in me, because it's on at 10 p.m. I will live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is an amazing show, and you can follow that while I'm live tweeting it at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have spent probably more time than you intended listening to us prattle, but we're glad you did. I hope that you connected with us, and I hope that in a mere 7 days you come back and super connect with us once again. Good night.
Good night. Hey, people need content. They're going back to work.
I hope they like content. I mean, you know.
Content is king.
Content is king. And we have king-worthy content, I think.
I think so.
There we go. At least Prince-worthy. Maybe Duke on a bad day. Okay, Viscount.